So, give it a second here so I can start with my slide. So when I tell people I wrote a book about plastic, the first question I often get is there really an island of plastic the size of Texas floating in the ocean? Which, by the way, isn't quite true. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, as we know it, isn't really a floating trash heap so much as millions of fingernail-sized pieces of plastic swirling in the water column. But whatever, back to the bigger picture. So there's this theme in human existence, and it's the search for ever more efficient materials. We even organize our history by them. You can think about things like the Stone Age, the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, and eventually we stumbled upon plastic. We stumbled upon plastic during the hunt for a replacement for ivory and billiard balls, which is actually really ironic given all the environmental problems it causes today. But nevertheless, plastic is a miracle material. It's cheap, it's durable, it's buoyant, and it's convenient. I know, right? That kid can't breathe. But those same things make it something akin to the evolutionary pinnacle of litter. Today, about 50% of the plastic we use is single-use plastic. It's so good. That means we get it, we hold on to it, and we toss it after one use. Globally, we only recycle about 10% of the plastic we use, and we use a lot of plastic. Since the 1950s, we've made about 8.9 billion tons of plastic. That's more than a ton of plastic for every single person on Earth. And the implications are enormous. That plastic, because it's buoyant, floats through the ocean at a rate of about 2 million metric tons per year. Because it's durable, it hangs around for a really long time, breaking into smaller and smaller pieces, eventually working its way into the food chain and back into us. So by 2050, the weight of plastic in the ocean will exceed the weight of fish. And right now, we find that 94% of microplastics in US tap water contain microplastics. So it's really difficult to fully understand the degree to which plastics influence our day-to-day lives. We can't see it for what it's worth because there's so much of it. It kind of fades into the background, like Waldo here. I myself couldn't really understand it until I tried a couple of little experiments. The first experiment was to try living without creating any plastic waste for 3 weeks. I don't recommend this. It is a tremendous pain in the ass, and it requires a ton of patience, time, and money. The second experiment I tried was to go grocery shopping without purchasing any plastic. Have you ever considered or tried grocery shopping in our modern society without purchasing any plastic waste at all? It's impossible. You will spend 3 hours and $300 at the grocery store and be by far the pissiest person on Whole Foods on Pearl Street. But fortunately for you, I devised a second experiment, one that doesn't require you to spend $70 on single paper-wrapped rolls of toilet paper. So here's what you can do. When you go to bed at night, take a notebook and a pen and put it next to your bedstand. From the moment you go to sleep until you wake up, write down every single time you interact with plastic during the day. You'll fill that notebook and you'll blow your mind. So here's a snippet of my day. 6:15 a.m., wake up, pen, mattress, pillows, cell phone cable, plastic wall, light switch, toothbrush, toothpaste tube, Q-tips, razors, toothpaste tube cap, shower curtain, water dial, maybe plastic water pipes, shampoo, conditioner, who knows? Okay, so that's like 18 minutes. See, you do that experiment and you'll find a whole new appreciation for what it means to be living in this plastic age. But interestingly, our parents, and most definitely our grandparents, didn't grow up in a plasticized society. We think of ourselves as so modern today with cell phones and laptops, but really, how much different is life than it was in the 1950s? They had refrigerators, washing machines, phones, pots, pans, soup, and even food. So, point being, they did that with very little plastic. And so when we think about looking for solutions to the plastic problem, we only need to look back a few generations ago to find many of them. We can do the same things. I can put coffee in a metal cup. I can store leftovers in a mason jar like my grandmother did. I can buy a bar of soap instead of body wash. I can put a carrot in a shopping cart without a plastic bag and it will not explode. I may not have the time to hand knit a sponge, even if Little Miss Stitcher gives me a free scrubby dishcloth knitting pattern, but I can push for sponges to be sold in the bulk bin without plastic packaging, and that's something. When it comes down to it, it all kind of reminds me of when we were getting ready for the arrival of our daughter Hadley, and I finally found these really cool glass and silicone bottles, and I called up my mom to tell her about them, and she was like, what do you think you used as a baby? Thanks so much.